So let this be a quick update here on price action of Bitcoin and price action of Ethereum, because as you can see, things are looking very interesting at the moment. The weakness that was supposed to pull the price around certain key line got invalidated, and now the price of Ethereum along with the price of Bitcoin looks like preparing itself for a continuation, which might look somehow like this. But is it really going to happen, or what kind of scenario should we expect next? So before I start talking about it, before I start talking about some of the interesting scenarios which I prepared for you guys, please do me a favor and destroy that like button. And to those individuals watching this for the first time, to hit that subscribe button. Thank you very much. So first thing first, looking at this price action of Ethereum, you can see this trend lines, Williams alligator indicator, CryptoAnup buy sell indicator was supposed to be tested, but after some pullback without even touching any of these three trend lines, you can see the price of Ethereum started reversing. So what does this mean? If the price of Ethereum breaks out of the previous high and flips into the support, that is when we are expecting a reversal like this to play out, a new continuation which will bring the price of Ethereum around 4,000 or even higher. I mean, this key trend line will be looked as our upcoming target for Ethereum, around 4,000 for the medium short term, and even the all-time high. I mean, this all-time high trend line will be also looked as our upcoming target, guys. And if the price of Ethereum, sorry, this is the all-time high, right? If the price of Ethereum does shows another continuation, breaking out of this next area of confluence, this trend line here, this is a very important line for us, guys. You can see this line rejected us a couple of times in the past price action. So if the price of Ethereum wants to turn completely parabolic, then we have to flip the 4,000 resistance into proper support, because by doing that, you can see the price of Ethereum will be heading towards the next area of confluence, which will bring us to make a new all-time high. Yes, you heard that correctly, guys. The price of Ethereum right now does looks bullish, but for this bullishness to continue, we have to gain a proper support above 4,000. Failing to do that means just like what happened here. You can see we got rejected after testing around 4,000 price range. We got rejected after testing around 4,000 price range. So this is what we want to avoid. So to avoid a move like this, Ethereum must regain its trend above $4,000, because parallelly, if you zoom out and look at this price action here in a smaller time frame, the price of Ethereum also looks like forming an ascending triangle, a bullish continuation pattern. But even for this bullish continuation pattern to play out and price to head towards the next area of confluence around $4,000, if you look at it carefully, you can see even for this bullish continuation to play out, the price target which hits around $4,000, we have to stay above this key trend line. I mean, in the medium short term, 3,750, 3,770 is where we want to stay before we close the daily candle, because failing to do that means, despite this being a bullish move, we might see a reversal in this manner before choosing a direction. But if you look at this price action, Ethereum has also invalidated this head and shoulder type of formation which we talked in my previous video, and now it clearly looks like following this descending broadening wedge. A descending broadening wedge is a bullish continuation pattern. So if we want this bullish continuation to continue and price of Ethereum also to head towards the next area confluence, which is definitely going to be around $4,000, right? If you want the price of Ethereum to head towards this $4,000, then you can see we have to stay above this key trend line. If we can flip this into proper support, the top from this descending broadening wedge, then I strongly believe that 4,000 will be our next price objective. And you know, this 4,000 has been one of the most important line of resistance which rejected us in the past price action. You can see rejection. So to avoid a move like this, Ethereum must find support over this key trend line, because finding support above that line means we are heading towards to break the previous high and even make a new all-time high. So what does this mean? If Ethereum starts gaining momentum, then Ethereum will be outperforming Bitcoin. Yes, you heard that correctly, guys. If Ethereum flips 4,000 resistance into support, I think that there will be a very bullish move to make a new all-time high, which will bring the dominance towards 56-57%. Yes, guys, this is where we are expecting Bitcoin dominance to get attracted if Ethereum manages to flip 4,000 resistance into proper support, because in that case Bitcoin dominance will face rejection and it could be on its way towards the previous support resistance trend line. I mean, this trend line acted as a strong line of support, even acted as a resistance during uptrend, so same trend line could be attracting us before the dominance starts fighting back. But until then, holding Ethereum, if it breaks above 4,000, will be a profitable move. And now, beside this Ethereum price action, beside this Bitcoin dominant chart, let's also look at Bitcoin price action, because according to this Bitcoin price action, we talked about this bearish continuation pattern. According to this descending triangular bearish continuation pattern, it has been invalidated along with the symmetrical triangle breakout formation. I mean, I showed you guys that Bitcoin could show a similar move. I mean, a move which, instead of a bullish break to the upside, right here, instead of a bullish break to the upside, it will start with a correction, which it did. But we were expecting more sideways movement, even a longer pullback, and only after that a reversal. But looking at it now, you can see the price of Bitcoin already looks bullish. So will Bitcoin continue with this uptrend? Will Bitcoin head towards the next area of confluence, which could bring us around 130, even up to $140,000? Is it really going to happen? Because if you look at it carefully, if we could simply remain above this key trend line, the first line will be the support from Williams alligator indicator, which is still holding us at the moment. You can see this trend line along with our CryptoAnup buy sell indicator band. This buy sell indicator band will act as additional support. So what does it mean? If Bitcoin manages to remain above this key trend line, the support line, we are expecting this uptrend to continue and head towards 130, even up to 140,000 before starting with a corrective move. But as long as we remain above this key trend line, there is nothing to worry about. But despite Bitcoin looking bullish, despite Bitcoin having a strong line of support, what I also want you guys to look at is the formation, what we are forming at the moment. I mean, this here looks like a bump and run reversal top type of formation. I mean, if we look at this example, if you look at this price action, you can see, guys, the price of Bitcoin looks like following this here. You can see it is a bump and run reversal top type of formation. So if we break below this trend line, then despite Bitcoin having support around 116,000, there could be a move to test the lower trend line as well. I mean, if Bitcoin fails to hold this key trend line, this rising trend line, just like in this example, if we fail to hold this bottom trend line, this red trend line, then in that case, despite Bitcoin having a strong support around 117,000, we might come for a retest around the lower band, which sits around $112,000, $113,000. Yes, guys, the lower band will be tested in case of another corrective move. I mean, if this bearish continuation known as bump and run reversal top plays out, then we have to be careful, because in that case, the price of Bitcoin could be preparing itself for a continuation, which might look somehow like this. I mean, if you look at the price action, you can see this is what's happening at the moment. We will call this our lead phase, bump phase, and then a run phase. So bump and run reversal top type of formation could be lining up here. So that's why in the medium short term, despite Bitcoin looking pretty strong, also invalidating some of the bearish scenario which was lining up parallelly, I still want you guys to be careful and not to overlap yourself, because if this bearish continuation starts playing out like this, I don't want you guys to be liquidated, guys. Despite Bitcoin showing weakness, even if the price of Bitcoin shows weakness, I still want you to be prepared. I mean, in a bigger picture, any sort of a move like this is simply going to give us a buying opportunity, because we know Bitcoin, even in the worst case, will still remain above the key trend line, the neckline from this inverted head and shoulder type of formation. So a pullback, or worst case pullback around 112, 113,000 means just a temporary pullback before expecting another bullish continuation. But for the medium short term, what we need the price of Bitcoin to do, Bitcoin to hold its ground around 116, 117. So this key trend line must hold the price if you want to invalidate a bearish continuation. So if we fail to remain above this key trend line, despite Bitcoin having a strong support around 116, 117,000, we could still see a move around 112, 113,000, and only after that a reversal, which might look somehow like this. Yes, you heard that correctly, guys. Even if the worst case starts playing out, if you simply zoom out, it is going to give us a buying opportunity. So what I'm trying to pinpoint is that in the medium short term, Bitcoin must hold this key trend line around 116, 117,000. If we fail to do that, then the next area of confluence will be attracting us, which sits around 112, 113,000. If we see move like this playing out, I want you guys to simply zoom out, because in a bigger picture, if you look at this monthly CPI trend lines, even if the worst case starts playing out for Bitcoin and Bitcoin heads towards this next area of confluence around 112,000, 113,000, in between that range, even in that case, we are still going to print an ascending CPI for the month of August. And we know every time whenever the price of Bitcoin starts forming an ascending CPI, these are our CPI trend line, top, central, and the bottom CPI trend line. And each and every time whenever this CPI trend line forms an ascending CPI, it usually marks uptrend. So for us to form an ascending CPI, what must the price of Bitcoin do? The price of Bitcoin must remain or close the monthly candle above 106,000. So looking at this price action right now, you can see the possibility of price closing the monthly candle above 106,000 is very high. That's why I'm actually expecting the month of August to print another ascending CPI, which indicates another uptrend. So in case of doubt, what I want you guys to do is to simply zoom out. So guys, these were some of the quick updates that I wanted to share with you regarding Bitcoin and Ethereum. If you like this content, then please do not hesitate to destroy that like button. And to those individuals watching this for the first time, to hit that subscribe button. And also a quick reminder, if you haven't claimed this bonus from Bybit around $30,050 in welcome rewards, then definitely check the video description. And by saying this, I'm signing out until next time. Bye bye.